Looking for some exhilarating fun? It's at All Out Zone. All Out Zone showcases Nerf dart tag games from team elimination battles to human versus zombies, pitting two teams against each other in fun, organized chaos with trained referees, music, and a full arsenal of Nerf blasters. You need team parties, birthday parties. We can customize the party to fit your needs. Visit us at the Coronado Mall. Give us a call, 505-444-6964. All Out Zone.
When I train for American Ninja Warrior, I schedule regular workouts to stay in shape. To keep my car in Ninja Tough shape, I head to a Napa Auto Care Center for regular maintenance and genuine Napa Auto parts. Like brakes and batteries. I trust my Napa Auto Care Center for quality parts and quality service. And with the 24-month, 24,000-mile nationwide warranty, I drive away with peace of mind every time. Visit AutoCareNM.com to find a location near you.
The Barley Room, proud sponsor of Proview Networks for over 9 years, is pleased to introduce Black Iron Catering. From weddings and family reunions to birthdays and office parties, Black Iron Catering is perfect for any event. Contact Jamie at 505-459-8259 and book your event today. Black Iron Catering. Let us bring our kitchen to you.
Car Crafters, proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
Are you sure we're supposed to be doing this?
Don't worry, I've watched him do it 1,000 times. Come on, what's the worst that can happen?
No! Bad dog!
Hi, welcome to Car Crafters. What happened? Don't worry, we'll make it like it never happened.
Car Crafters, it's like it never happened.
The Sports Desk is proudly presented by Car Crafters. It's like it never happened.
And welcome everyone to another edition of the Sports Desk. I'm Scott Galletti. Ed Nunez will be joining me here very shortly as we're going to talk about a lot of high school sports. The football championship scene is coming to a close here. We had 2 champions crowned over the weekend. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. But first, we are talking Thanksgiving running, as it will be the 30th annual ABQ Thanksgiving 5K run. And with us right now, the director, Maggie Azard. And Maggie, first off, tell us a little bit about the event.
The event's been an annual event started by Gil Duran over 30 years ago, and it benefits the Salvation Army. Some of the proceeds go there. He started it, and it runs, it used to run historically through the country club area, but now it runs along Tingley Drive and the Bosque Bike Trail.
Now, where does it start? Where does it finish?
It starts right over on Tingley Drive, and it finishes right by Kit Carson Park.
Very nice. So, 30th year. You've been a part of this a long time, as you were one of the assistants for a while.
Initially, I was a participant. So he had a 5 and a 10K run, as well as a competitive race walk, and then it evolved just to this 5K run.
And then you were a volunteer under Gil, and what made you decide you wanted to be the person in charge?
Gil was stepping out and basically handed over the reins.
Nice. What are some of the things that folks coming out, if you're not going to be a participant, what can you watch for, and how do you become a participant?
It's, if you're just a spectator, you can line the trail and cheer on the runners and whatnot, but it's a really nice family and community event. So people of all ages, mostly we have one family that comes out, and they probably have 12 family members that are registered. And they come out, so babies used to be pushed in strollers, and now they're being running and walking on their own. And so you can register online. You can go to the Albuquerque Roadrunners website, and that'll be a form you can download, or the website where you can click on the link and register. Maggie Azard, the director of the 30th Thanksgiving 5K run here in Albuquerque. It's been around. You see the
flyer right there. And you know, what has made this event, what has kept this event going so well?
This event has been going on so well just because of the good feeling and the community spirit and it couldn't be in a more beautiful part of Albuquerque. It just is glorious. And families come out, people from out of town joining their families. It's just a nice, low-key, good way to start the celebration, being with family.
What else would you like to tell the folks?
Come out, run. It should be glorious weather this year. We've had some cold weather in the past, but this year it looks like it's going to be a nice, beautiful day.
Well, thank you very much for coming and telling us about the event, Maggie.
Thank you for having me, Scott.
Maggie Azar, the director of the ABQ 5K run happening on Thanksgiving Day. So you'll want to check it out and be a part of it. If you're a runner, it's a great event. If you're a spectator, it's a great event. So go check it out. We will come right back here as you see the screen right there, the 5K run walk. Forgot the walk part. So we will be right back. But first, the top 10 plays of the week from Dream Style Remodeling.
Why not? Again, Kelly. This time, she's done it.
Heiss, it laid out, and he caught it! What a catch for Austin Heiss! Sowers will get to set Thompson for the win. Yes! The Wolverines are the 4-time state champions.
Kaylee Foote again. She's done it! And Logan, they've won the 2A state championship.
Set here for Devaney. The tip, yes! For the championship, Brett Devaney! They have dethroned volleyball royalty.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a #1. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
Is this my car?
State Farm knows that for every one of those moments,
This is ridiculous!
there's one of these.
Is this my car? What? This is ridiculous.
This can't be happening!
This can't be happening.
Oh, it's happening, sweetheart.
Oh, it's happening, sweetheart.
Shut up!
Shut up!
That's why State Farm is there, with car insurance for when things go wrong, but also here with car loans to help life go right. State Farm.
Talk to State Farm agent Marty Size or Michelle Rudolph in Albuquerque today.
And welcome back here to the Sports Desk. I'm Scott Galletti along with Ed Nunez, and we bring in Ed Nunez. What a busy week, what a busy time. You did boxing last week, Ed, and now it's back to football, basketball starting up here in a week or so on the high school front. And, you know, it's one of those funny things. I was on Steve Davis's show this week, and, you know, it was kind of funny, the old saying, and we talk about it each and every year we've done this show. Oh, football's starting. Oh, the selection seating show. And, oh, now it's almost over.
I know, and we say that in August. We always say that it'll be here before you know it.
Yeah.
The selection show was 2 weeks ago. It seems already so long. Playoffs already underway. So yes, it's been a fleeting, like it always is. Football, and like you mentioned, basketball. I can't wait to see the capsules in the journal, you know, the predictions. So, you know, and those are around the corner, right around the corner. You know, James Yoda's had some great articles this weekend about football, about Animas. Animas hadn't won.
I love that story. I mean, he recapped that Animas, and we talked about that on Steve's show, that they at one point had a record going in the state on consecutive wins and then championships. I think they had a string of like, what was it, 7 or something like that they had? Or?
Featured in Life magazine back in the day, and that's a big deal.
Yeah, so then they won. We'll go over the results on them here in a little bit on the show, but they won a championship this week, and it was big for them. And, you know, it's one of those situations where the whole town comes out and small town feeling, but a big time atmosphere.
That's a good way to put it. It's a good way to put it. You know, because again, Animas had dominated in the early 90s, and they had fallen on some hard times. But when you win a championship and you've had that kind of history, the people talk about it's a small town. You go into the barber shop, they're talking about it, the grocery store, anywhere you go in.
And they shut the town down. I mean, that's why I say small town feeling, because, you know, they shut the town down because everyone wants to be a part of that game and that event and that atmosphere.
You know what, I remember going to Estancia a couple years ago to call that championship, and you drove into town and they had red ribbons tied around the trees. And, you know, you mentioned small-time atmosphere and small-town football. Everybody, you know, everybody's looking forward to it. They have their Estancia shirts on, and that was for them. But going back to Animas, just a great story. James Yodas knows this history of football like nobody else.
Right.
So when he read that, I mean, when I read that, I had to kind of read it over just to get the appreciation of the story, because he did a great job, like he
did an outstanding job. I love that story, and I read it a couple of times myself. Actually,
love to read those things.
And I don't go back as far as you do here in the state. I've only been here about 10 years, but, you know, just reading about those stories and, you know, knowing that the town just opened the doors for Proview and the NFHS network and, you know, everything else, it's kind of a cool scene.
I think, you know, the places that we've been to like Steve, I was just talking to Steve Davis before, all the volleyball and Hagerman and the 8-man football and the 6-man football. I know Manny Lucero got up at 4:30 in the morning, and he was covering 8-man football, I believe. And, you know, that's a long trip. But I think when you're in the business that we are, you look forward to going to a small town and, you know, hearing the cowbells, and you know, the fans are so enthusiastic. You know, they really are, because that's the big event in town.
Well, they're defending their town.
Right.
It's their town.
That's
hey, this is us.
That's right.
It's us against them kind of thing.
That's
because you're coming to our town, you're not going to beat us in our house.
Exactly.
I mean, it's literally, you know, it's our house versus the outsiders.
But I still say, and I think you'd agree, that most of those small town battles, you see good sportsmanship, good character, people helping each other. They're hitting, they're playing hard, but you don't see a lot of chesting up and bad sportsmanship. I think you see a lot of character. That's why I love to go out there to those. You know, even when I officiated, everybody wanted the 6A, officiated high school basketball, the 6A games, and sometimes those smaller school games are the best ones. They really were.
I know, especially when you're talking basketball and they bring like 10,000 people. They do bring the whole town to the pit, and you're thinking, wow, where'd these people come from?
You're right. You're right. They're representing.
And the minute that they're allowed to take their seats, because, you know, the NMAA does it in stages where one game ends, they empty, and then all of a sudden they start seating for the next game. The minute they're in there, those smaller towns make noise. They let you know that they're there.
Think about the effect of the Shiprock fans last year against Hope.
That's a great example. simple
10,000
because
fans.
the minute that they were able to take those seats, and we were all there at the same time, the minute that they were able to take their spots, you knew they were there because the cheering, the chants, everything started immediately.
Noise was deafening, and you look, the Hope girls were a good team, there's no doubt about it, but that crowd had an effect, as they would on a lot of 16 and 17-year-old girls or boys.
Yeah.
That crowd was, when I was up there listening, I'm like, wow, this sounds like a pit game. It really did. And so, you know, the Shiprock girls rode that to the championship. It certainly helped them.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, one of the things that we're going to talk about some good and bad with the UNM Lobos. We'll start with the good, Ed. Basketball season. A lot of people are talking about it. I don't know if that game the other day is any indication of you know, things to come, as they played an NAIA team, and it actually counted, where they played BYU, and it didn't count because it was that special donation exhibition game. But Lobos looked pretty doggone good the other day.
147 points, and one of the things, we interviewed Coach Weir in April, or it was March or April of last year, and one of the things he said that UNM ranked low, right? They rank low in three-point shooting.
Right.
He wanted to improve that.
Right.
Chris McNeil, Dane Kuiper, some of these other guys' names I don't even know yet, but they definitely didn't shoot well, he said, against Northern Arizona in the scrimmage. They didn't shoot well against Denver. They didn't shoot well. Well, they shot better against Denver in the scrimmage. No stats posted. Didn't shoot well against BYU.
Didn't shoot well against BYU, and that was an emphasis.
Right.
And they shot extremely well in this game.
Okay, so
now is that them? Is that the opponent? Because of open shots, we're not going to go into that. But the fact that they shot well, that's a building block, because you know, Bob Brown was talking about this yesterday. Hey, it doesn't matter who you play in a game like this. It's all about building confidence. And everybody got to play, and it wasn't just, you know, the last guy on the bench getting a couple of minutes. Everybody contributed, so it puts a hunger in everyone's you know, systems there. They want to. Everybody wants to contribute now.
Anthony Mathis, a guy that wasn't used very much last year, 13
great point. They're a great example.
Sam Logwood, who, here's what I'm going to tell you, and this is just my opinion. I really believe that last year, towards the end of the year, some of these Lobos lost their lust for the game because of Craig Neal's approach.
Right.
Craig Neal's gone now. You know, we wish him well. You know, and he's fine, I'm sure. I'm going to say this again, that when Cullen Neal left, I believe Craig Neal lost his love for UNM basketball, and it filtered down.
Yeah.
So now you got a new approach. Now, we're not saying the Lobos are going to the NCAA or Sweet 16. No one's saying that. But Coach Weir is saying, here's our style. This is the way we're going to play. He's enthusiastically passionate about the program. He's going into the stands, selling the program. Come see us play. Give us a chance. It's a whole different approach. So as a result, some of these players that were here last year that were not used, Anthony Mathis, all of a sudden they've got a new lease on life. I mean something. I'm relevant now. And their love for basketball, sometimes you can hate it, honestly. If you're with a coach that doesn't, you know,
that's a good point.
It's honest to God.
You're right.
I've been there.
I've been there too. Yeah, it's all about the coach.
You know
it's all about the guy running the system.
Right. So now it's a new approach. Now, again, you're right. Tonight we might get a better idea of how they do against Omaha. We might get a better idea against New Mexico State, some teams that are going to compete. But right now, and here's the thing, you know, we're going to talk about Lobo football in a minute, and I've been here all my life, 55 years. Here we go. You know, Lobo football, you know, is kind of, you know, again, curtailing towards the end of the year. I still love them. But here's the fans in Albuquerque. When is basketball season? Now they're enthused about Lobo basketball for now. Now, the love has gone away a little bit the last couple of years at the Dreamstyle Arena. Can he get it back? Can he get it back? And if they start winning, they'll come. Just like that, you know, Field of Dreams building.
Well, Jeff Grammer had a story. I saw it on Twitter about attendance. I mean, they're already 800 shy of what they were a year ago season tickets. And I guess the final report for season tickets will come out at the end of next week. But it's still low. But the hope is the way they're playing and the style of ball. You know, everyone loves the run and gun style here in this town, just like they love passing, even though passing may not be the answer. They love the run and gun style. So having said that, it may actually draw some season tickets, but that's where they got to tap into. And Coach Weir is the same guy who said, I'm not going to wear the cherry blazer until I deserve it. He knows that he's in a building mode. And this might still be a rebuilding season, but you know, to see all the effort, where I guess that's the biggest joke in town, and it's tough for me because I love Craig Neal as a person and, you know, and a friend and everything else, but I guess the comment about not being able to coach effort was kind of a thorn in a lot of people's sides here in the town. And Coach Ware, at least for now, his coaching effort.
Let me tell you something. It was for me. Like I said, I followed Lobo basketball since
you and a lot of people.
It really put me out because I've coached before. I've coached at the high school level, at the AAU level, and I still remember one kid that played for me at Highland. I remember bringing him to the bench, and I told him a couple things. I can't say here on camera. And I remember he went out there and got me 8 rebounds, and we still talk about that to this day.
Right.
He said, "Coach, you brought out something in me," and I said, "You know why I did it." So don't give me that you don't coach effort if you're making $1 million.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? So for me, I had a real problem with that. Now, look,
unfortunately, that's their job to coach effort.
And here's the thing, Scott. If you look
I had coaches that brought stuff out of me that I didn't know existed either.
Right.
I mean, without those coaches, I don't succeed in that.
That's right. You know that, and in other things as well. That brought out not only the athlete in you, but the other character that you had in there too.
And I learned that. I've got at least 7 people that have coached and taught me over the years that I look back and I think, without them, I'd be a lot different. And not for the better.
You didn't forget that either.
No.
And so I think, when you're hearing the UNM head coach saying that, and I've seen them all, at least since, I didn't see Bob King, but from Norm Ellenberger on, I've seen them. And when I heard that really put me off. But here's the thing.
Right.
Let's forget that. We're moving forward, and we got a guy that embraces Lobo basketball, wants to be here, and wants people to come see his product. So I think as Lobo fans, all we can do is see what's next. And I'll tell you what, I know it's only, again, I'm not going to knock Ryan Cordova in Northern New Mexico. Ryan Cordova has done a fine job there. But they're not going to come in here and beat the Lobos. But we won't know how the Lobos will fare.
Do you realize that they had played like 9 games
already
in 12 days?
Coach Cordova has to travel, and he's done a good job of building this roster.
I mean, they played. We were joking about that on Bob Brown's show yesterday. They played back-to-back games against the same team, which is almost unheard of. They were home games, and then they played 3 games in 3 days, and I think when they played the Lobos, they had played their 7th game in 9 days.
No, that's quite a schedule.
And here's the NBA Players Association saying we don't want back-to-backs, and here's a college playing 7 games in 9 days.
Well, you remember back in the day, and you do remember, NBA didn't travel. They traveled coach. It wasn't first class. I mean, you had back-to-backs, all kinds of 3 games in 3 nights. These NBA guys.
Well, I was in the Continental Basketball Association where we flew from one place to another with a layover, and you basically got into the town at 4 o'clock for a 7 o'clock game.
That's right.
Went straight to the arena before you even checked into a hotel.
Might be an armory.
I mean, I've been. Yeah.
Gyms might be an armory.
Albany Patroons played in an armory.
Right. So
that was one of the teams that we played.
Yeah.
And what's funny is that was actually one of the easier places to get in and out of, to get right to the arena. But you would literally go straight to the arena, and that was very like what old style travel was in the NBA.
And look at it now. These people are complaining. Go talk to Coach Cordova and see what he thinks. Back to back to back, and So
I believe when they played the Aggies last year out at the Santa Ana Star Center, I believe Coach Cordova told us that he drove the bus.
Right. So he does it all.
He's the bus driver.
Does it all, literally.
Literally is right. Well, let's get to the bad news now, and it's more of a case of the old saying, "We are who we are." You look at 55-14, and I'm not going to sit here and say that UNM is a bad team. And you know what? I took offense when people were saying, hey, the Lobos are quitting. The Lobos are giving up. I heard that when I was doing the UNM games when Mike Loxley was here. Guess what? They're not giving up. They're outmatched. I mean, just like the other day, Northern New Mexico, that's a great example. I said, hey, when Northern New Mexico played UNM, were they giving up? Because, then that's not giving credit to the team that won.
Well, you're right.
And does Rio Grande give up every game when they play when they play La Cueva? Do they give up? I'd say no.
No, I think you're right. One of the things that was talked about, they talked about.
There's no way that the Lobos have given up, but guess what? If the starting quarterback, Nick Starkel, 416 yards, by the way, that was in 1 half. He was pulled at halftime. And if they would have kept him, if some of the jokes are if Coach Sumlin for Texas A&M, if his job wasn't on the line, he would have kept him in just to make themselves look better. But, it would be a no-win situation for him. But other SEC coaches might have kept him in the third quarter. He might have had 700-800 yards.
Imagine that.
and he had 4 touchdowns. I mean, you know, they forced one. The Lobos did force one punt, but look at the total yardage. That tells the story.
They're totally overmatched, outgained, and
144 yards, and this is a school in New Mexico. You put them against light competition, they're the ones with the 400 or 500 yards.
Right, you mentioned that, and I think one of the things that Lobo safeties had problems like they did against Wyoming and Fresno State. Texas A&M had no problem going up and down the field, and I think it's. By
the way, that's what they were playing in front of, the 12th man, and they had almost 100,000 people paid for that game.
Think about that. I think one of the things that I want to mention here is my son and I talked about this. My son loves Lobo football, and he said, "Dad, you got to remember, it's been years since the Lobos have had successful seasons. It's usually like 3 successful seasons, 2 bad ones, 1 mediocre one, 3 bad ones," and he's not wrong. He's right. Yeah. And hopefully we're not. Here's the other thing, though. I'm still wondering what new athletic director Eddie Nunez has in mind. He came from the SEC. Maybe he has some different ideas how to promote the program. He should.
Yeah,
he's getting paid. He's getting paid a lot of money.
You would think he would, and I think he's waiting for all the issues that are going on until he really puts his stamp on things, because he came into a really kind of tough situation with the audit and the attorney general and everything, and they've kept him out of that. In fact, when he's been asked about that, I mean, he'll say, they've purposely kept me out of the loop on that, and some people might say, well, you're the athletic director, you should know about that, but his job is to clean up the mess after. After all is said and done, it's his job to clean up the mess, but he wasn't part of the mess.
The morning after.
Yeah.
The morning after. But here's the thought. Now, if Coach Davies decides, and I hope
he doesn't know how to promote, well, here's a good example. If he doesn't know how to promote football, basketball, and baseball, which were all strong things at LSU, baseball. I mean, who's the player that he knew the most? Had nothing to do with UNM, but who's the player that he knew the most? Alex Bregman. Because he was there under his watch while he was in charge of the baseball program.
So you know what, like you said, let's see what his stamp's going to be, what his hands are going to. I'm not going to say he's going to turn everything around overnight, but he might have different ideas.
I'm sure that he has a roadmap to success, and when he came on board, he was highly, highly recommended. Even though he has your name, he's not the same guy.
No, he's not. Definitely a French guy from Louisiana. I'm a little bit darker, Ed Nunez, than he is, but plus the salary man. I wish I could, but he's I'm sure deserves all of that. But here's the other thing. One more point on the Lobos. If Bob Davie decided, hopefully he doesn't. He stays another 5 years. But if he decided to go, I would think Eddie Nunez would be able to get a short list of 5 guys and get someone in here solid very quickly.
Yeah,
very quickly.
And again, hopefully Bob Davie does not leave.
I hope he doesn't leave another 5.
But here's the thing. Games against Texas A&M are proof. Number one, the Lobos with their line issues and everything, it's been really tough, and it's been a situation where it's kind of a war of attrition. So the 100+ yards, that's kind of a issue, not on the quarter. I don't even think it's a quarterback issue. It's because they don't have the blocking scheme. You got to have the right blocking scheme for what they want. And people that say, "Oh, we need a passing game," they've been there, done that with Loxley. 3 and out in 40 seconds, and the other thing. Here's the one thing just before we go to break, Ed, that I brought up yesterday on Bob Brown's show is the time of possession. And some people are big time of possession guys, and some people aren't. But I'll tell you what, the thing about the game the other day is the time of possession was in the favor of New Mexico, 34 minutes and 39 seconds to 25-21. In games like that under Mike Loxley, it would have been 42-18 or 44-16 the other way around, where the Lobo defense was on the field the entire game. That wasn't the case here. Otherwise, it would have been worse. But what it does tell you is that they were quick strike. They were getting 60, 70, 50-yard passes like at the drop of a dime, and they had guys open all night long. So you got to recruit the right players to come in and get them all to buy in. Have they given up? No, I don't believe they have. But something does have to change.
Yeah, no question, no doubt.
And maybe it's the talent level and getting more quality people in here or whatnot? I don't know.
That's hard too. I know you guys.
It's easy to have the answer because I don't have the answer.
I heard you guys talk about that yesterday too, and that's hard.
We will take a break and come back with more here on the Sports Desk.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
Locally loved restaurants like Farina Pizzeria, Farina Alto, and the Artichoke Cafe are the perfect venue for your next event. Farina Alto has traditional Italian food, plus handcrafted cocktails in a beautiful Northeast Heights location. Farina Pizzeria with a downtown vibe, amazing affordable wines, and local beer. And the Artichoke Cafe has set the standard for casual fine dining since 1989. Visit our family of restaurants and see what fine dining is all about.
Ladera Golf Course. Open in 1980, Ladera features a full 18 including spacious greens, a large driving range, roomy practice putting greens, and 4 large lakes. Surrounding Ladera, beautiful views of the Sandia Mountains to the east and volcanoes to the west. Ladera is a challenging city-owned course with the longest playing yardage of any other city courses. For weekend tee times and more information, call 505-836-4449.
Folks, there's no other way but to be all in. Either he's Lord of all or he is not Lord at all. And you can experience the real and authentic, true life change that only God can provide to humanity. See, when we truly encounter Jesus and purpose to know him and follow his teachings, #life change will occur.
Don't forget, every Proview Network sporting event is on sale at our DVD store. Go to www.proviewNetworks.com to buy your DVD today.
Sadie's is a proud supporter of New Mexico high school sports and athletics, and we here at Proview Networks would like to thank Sadie's for their continued support in helping us bring you all of your New Mexico high school sports coverage.
For 55 years, people have bought trucks from Tillery in Los Lunas. We have a great selection of vehicles, a quality service department, and some of the best deals in the state. But most importantly, we found people prefer to buy trucks from people who actually drive trucks.
Tillery is a proud supporter of Proview Sports Network. Locally owned and operated, located in Los Lunas, right off I-25, exit 203.
Turbo Threads is a proud sponsor of Proview Networks.
Almost 30 years of experience means fast.
VR Junkies is a virtual reality arcade. We specialize in all things VR, from the simple phone-based headsets to cutting-edge full-body motion systems. Check us out at the Coronado Mall. VR Junkies.
Hey everyone, Adam Deal here with Proview Networks. Extreme Clean is a proud sponsor and supporter of Proview Networks and all high school sports athletics. Owner Mike McLean and Extreme Clean specialize in carpet cleaning for apartment, realty, business, and residential clients. With over 20 years experience, attention to detail and quality customer service matters. For more information, give them a call, 505-221-6440, Extreme Clean.
And welcome back here to the Sports Desk. Scott Galletti along with Ed Nunez, Alden Ioane and the crew here doing a great job of getting our show on the air. Time now to talk a little bit about what's going on in terms of the playoffs. And we've got results, we got highlights. The 2A six-man championship games took place here over the weekend, and Fort Sumner House, another championship, 55-7 over number 2 Escalante. That was in the 2A championship. And in six-man play, it was number 1 Animas beating Reserve 48-22. And we have highlights of those games. And just look at that setting, Ed.
I was there last year, and then Fort Sumner avenging their loss to Lordsburg, and they lost to Lordsburg in a very close game last year.
So there's one of the touchdowns there, and this was a big victory for Lordsburg, and the celebration's on. Nothing like hoisting up that blue trophy. And then Animas, a little bit of a passing game there, a nice catch over the middle, and they even have the A in the middle of the field.
Six-man football here, right?
Yes, that I believe so.
That guy scored a touchdown, still helped the defender up. That was I've never seen that. There's Animas, another touchdown. I've never seen that. There's like a beautiful cutback there.
And the thing about that, and to answer the question, yes, it is six-man here, and there you see the blue trophy and the six-man banner there for the championship, and it was a big win for those two teams, Fort Sumner and Animas. And let's move forward now, the eight-man playoffs. And this is what's coming up, or actually, no, this is the results from last week, because you have Melrose, another great small town for football, 58-0 over Cloudcroft. And it was Tatum in a close game over Dora Elida. Mountain Air, no problem against Gateway Christian. Mesilla Valley Christian all over Logan. And we'll take a look now at the upcoming. There's your semifinals. Melrose at Tatum. That's the old who owes who. And you got Mesilla Valley at number 2 Mountain Air.
Well, I just think of Melrose a couple of years ago being there. In some of these schools like Dora Elida and Fort Sumner House, they used to have their own, like Fort Sumner and House and Dora and Elida. And so with enrollment and numbers down, they combine schools now.
And all those schools used to have success, too.
Right.
That was the thing about it. Now they combine them and made them super schools.
That's interesting to me. So, back in the day, that was way back in the day, but they did have their, and you don't remember a sportscaster named Jim Boggio, who used to work at Channel 7. Jim Boggio made these small schools on Friday nights. He'd always list their scores. Jow beat Tatum, Weed, which doesn't exist anymore, beat Hagerman. Jim Boggio put these guys on the map way back in the day, but looking at some of these playoffs, wow. I still get tingles, man. I don't care what class it is.
3A results from last week, and you had Newcomb over Zuni, 36-14. Tularosa winner over Tucumcari. Dexter beat number 10 Texaco, 36-13. And Raton all over Cuba. And that brings us up to the action this week, as you've got the semifinals coming up. Actually, this is the quarterfinals, so semifinals next week. That'll be Tularosa, there we go. Tularosa, Santa Rosa, my bad on that. I thought it was semis. Dexter against Capitan, Estancia hosting Raton, and Newcomb at number 1 Eunice.
I like that Raton Estancia matchup. I really do. Number 4 and 5, that's going to be a good one. So Capitan, Dexter has to travel to Capitan. Capitan, man, let me tell you, it's at the tip of the state, man. It really is. I remember going there just one time. So, you know what, though? Like we said, we drive into these small towns, you got to love it. Like you mentioned, it's us against them. You're not coming, so it's great small town football America, no doubt.
Let's take a look at the 4A playoff results from last week, and you have Moriarty over Socorro, Taos, a close game against Hope. Then West Las Vegas over Silver, another close game, and Hatch Valley all over Shiprock.
And I thought Shiprock was going to put up a better, effort. They had scored 120 points their last 4 games, albeit against not better, great competition. And Hatch Valley just took it to them. And West and Silver, that was a very close game. Manny Lucero was posting scores on the site all afternoon. Look at Towson. Okay, Hope had lost to Taos earlier, and they just had too many penalties, according to Coach Gary Beck. But that's a close game there against Taos. That really was, and no surprise there. I think the Pinnells are still dangerous of Moriarty, even though they lost their last 2 of the year.
Let's take a look now at some interesting matchups. You got Moriarty at Ruidoso. That will be a very good game. Game played at Eastern New Mexico University. Number 2 Portales hosting Taos.
Okay, Moriarty just lost Ruidoso 3 weeks ago, 39-31. So you know what they're thinking. Towson against the defending champs Portales. That's going to be a tough test for. I think the Tigers already lost to them. And you got West at Robertson. That game was won handily by the Cardinals earlier in the year, 51-21.
Another small town game where the town's going to be out in full force, much like Ruidoso.
So Richard Tripp has his hands full getting tickets ready and everything else for that. So Hatch Valley at St. Mike's, and I think the Horsemen beat Hatch Valley earlier, if I'm right.
I believe that is the case, but that Ruidoso game Ruidoso is one of my favorite high school stadiums here in the state. There's just it's almost like a Wrigley Field feel of it. There's a tree growing right basically into the press box.
That's interesting.
So I mean, it's just the ends of the end zone are kind of cut off because there's a street right there, and the configuration. That's why I call it the Wrigley Field. But it's a great field. It's a great setting, and you know the town, much like West Las Vegas and Robertson, the town of Ruidoso will be up for this one.
Oh, you bet they will. And you know what? Think about Moriarty again. You know, they come in and they had lost to Portales 13-7, then Ruidoso 39-31. So they're thinking payback, but you have to remember be measured in your approach. But that's going to be, to me, the game of 4A, the quarterfinals there. That's the game of 4A right there.
We'll take a break and come back with more here as we'll talk about 5A and 6A in just a moment on the Sports Desk.
Gecko's Bar and Tapas, a proud supporter of Proview Networks. It's been a fan favorite spot for food lovers and sports fans. With not one, but two great locations, including outdoor patio, an atmosphere you won't want to miss. Gecko's, off Academy and in Nob Hill.
Ladera Golf Course. Opened in 1980, Ladera features a full 18 including spacious greens, a large driving range, roomy practice putting greens, and 4 large lakes. Surrounding Ladera, beautiful views of the Sandia Mountains to the east and volcanoes to the west. Ladera is a challenging city-owned course with the longest playing yardage of any other city courses. For weekend tee times and more information, call 505-836-4449.
Don't forget, every Proview Network sporting event is on sale at our DVD store. Go to www.proviewNetworks.com to buy your DVD today. Hey everyone, Adam Deal here with Proview Networks. Extreme Clean is a proud sponsor and supporter of Proview Networks and all high school sports athletics. Owner Mike McLean and Extreme Clean specialize in carpet cleaning for apartment, realty, business, and residential clients. With over 20 years experience, attention to detail and quality customer service matters. For more information, give them a call, 505-221-6440, Extreme Clean.
Sadie's is a proud supporter of New Mexico high school sports and athletics, and we here at Proview Networks would like to thank Sadie's for their continued support in helping us bring you all of your New Mexico high school sports.
Looking for some exhilarating fun? It's at All Out Zone. All Out Zone showcases Nerf dart tag games from team elimination battles to human versus zombies, pitting 2 teams against each other in fun, organized chaos with trained referees, music, and a full arsenal of Nerf blasters. You need team parties, birthday parties. We can customize the party to fit your needs. Visit us at the Coronado Mall. Give us a call, 505-444-6964. All Out Zone.
When I train for American Ninja Warrior, I schedule regular workouts to stay in shape. To keep my car in Ninja Tough shape, I head to a Napa Auto Care Center for regular maintenance and genuine Napa Auto parts. Like brakes and batteries. I trust my Napa Auto Care Center for quality parts and quality service. And with the 24-month, 24,000-mile nationwide warranty, I drive away with peace of mind every time. Visit AutoCareNM.com to find a location near you.
The Barley Room, proud sponsor of Proview Networks for over 9 years, is pleased to introduce Black Iron Catering. From weddings and family reunions to birthdays and office parties, Black Iron Catering is perfect for any event. Contact Jamie at 505-459-8259 and book your event today. Black Iron Catering. Let us bring our kitchen to you.
The Sports Desk is proudly presented by Car Crafters. It's like it never happened.
And we are back here on the Sports Desk. Scott Coletti along with Ed, not Eddie Nunez. We got to have Eddie Nunez on the show here.
Yeah, you know,
been talking with Frank Mercogliano trying to make that happen, so that'll be nice.
Yeah, I had a chance to meet him at the Lobo preseason basketball banquet, and seemed like a really nice guy, you know. And again, he's got a lot of people expect. I think about John Koenig, Pete McDonald, Rudy Davalos, the past athletic directors. Paul Krebs. I mean, he's got a lot of responsibility, and people expect a lot. Right. It's just not Lobo basketball. I mean, you know, when Paul Krebs was here, they won a lot of championships in other sports besides basketball and football. Right. And their GPA was good, you know. So he did promote that. Mr. Nunez has a lot of responsibility, and I think people are anxious to see, like you said, after the smoke kind of clears.
Yeah, because they got all this financial stuff. The audit just came out last week. Now the Attorney General's got to do his thing, and then after that, I think we'll finally see Eddie Nunez do his thing. He's doing his thing right now, but more on the low key because, you know, they got to fix what's broken before he can fix everything.
You're right, and you know what? That could take several months, man.
That's the hard part.
Several months.
I think he knew what he was getting into. Maybe not totally, but I think he knew what he was getting into when he came here. And I mean, let's face it, he's coming from LSU. He's not coming from some podunk school. So,
exactly.
You know, and he was a big-time administrator at LSU, and look at what they've done on a whole in all their athletic.
And comes highly recommended.
Highly recommended. And that's the thing. Coming here, I know his goal is to make women's basketball, soccer, everything successful. Any sport, you know, because he's been at a school where every sport was successful.
And just a quick mention, Lobos women beating Marquette last night.
That was huge.
That's a start. So
that was huge.
That's a start. We'll see. You know, so again, I think I'm looking forward to his tenure to see again when the smoke clears with all this financial audit, things like that. What is Eddie Nunez's fingerprints on the program?
Right.
What are his ideas? Because they're bringing him in to say, hey, here's my ideas for promotion for football, and you know he has them. The man is a young, intelligent man. So I can't wait to see what he has to offer.
Well, I mean, look at it this way. He's been at LSU when they expanded their stadium. He's been at LSU when they expanded their baseball stadium. He's been, you know, they've done renovations to their arena for the basketball. I mean, he's been there while they've been doing that. So he knows what it takes to make things like that happen.
Exactly, in a much bigger venue. Now, again, he has to downsize his slots here because of budget.
Right.
There's constraints here. But again, I can't wait to see what he's got. We're going to have to wait for a while, and you know, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, he's got outstanding coaches. You know, considering if there's no changes, he's got great coaches to work with too.
Look, you know, I think Coach Birmingham must be excited because baseball, you know, he was big on baseball at LSU.
He was in charge of baseball at LSU. He wasn't big on, he was the baseball administrator.
And look what he did there.
Yeah.
So Coach Birmingham, and again, the Lobos.
I mean, he assisted in everything else, but baseball was his baby.
And he did a great job there. So Coach Birmingham, I bet, is very excited.
Yeah, so I'm sure of that. But, you know, even Coach Bradbury with the women's team, I know he's excited too.
Oh, big win last night for Coach Bradbury. See if the Lobos can build on that, Lobo women.
Yeah, well, haven't seen a game in an atmosphere in the pit for women's basketball in quite some time where the Lobos actually came out on top. They had, a couple of years ago, they had a close call against Stanford, but this is the first time that they've beaten a ranked team in a while, and that could only build to bigger and better things.
You know, Yvonne Sanchez did such a wonderful job. I really, you know, we think the world of Yvonne here at Proview Networks. I hope the Lobo women, you know, are going to attract Yvonne Sanchez. You know, they attracted some good crowds under her, of course, under Don Flanagan. So maybe the winning against Marquette last night will attract more fans because that's what you want to do. You want to build excitement, and I think that it will. Coach Bradbury's second year here, and he's again running guns, spread the floor, things like that. So let's see what happens.
Take a look now at what's going on here. This is the schedule for 4A, as you got Moriarty, Ruidoso, Portales at Eastern New Mexico. Now we got the 4A first round again. Now we'll look at the 5A here as we move forward, and there's the 5A games from last Friday and Saturday. Miyamura, a big win over Deming. It was Los Lunas all over Capital. Capital actually led this game early, but it was Los Lunas coming back with a vengeance. Aztec a winner over Goddard in a close one. And St. Pius, they were down, what was it, 28-7, I believe it was. I was keeping track of the score online on my phone, and it was 28-21. Next thing I knew, it was 42-28 St. Pius. So they must have scored in bunches somewhere, but this was a great comeback for them.
Sophomore quarterback Diego Pavia had another big game. And you know who I want to give credit to? And Diego Pavia deserves it. James Yotis called him one of the finest sophomores in the state, and he is. But Dave Montoya has done a great job there in his first year after the retired San Juan Mendoza moves on. So he's done a great job.
And speaking of moving on, now we're in the quarterfinals. Miyamura at number 2 Berlin. Didn't have a time for that game as we put together this page, but Farmington against Los Lunas at 7 o'clock on Friday, and games on Saturday. St. Pius at the Bulldog Bowl against Artesia, and number 6 Aztec at number 3 Roswell at the Wool Bowl.
Couple things. Okay, now Farmington gave Berlin their best game of the year. They beat Berlin beat them 35-28 outside of Los Lunas. So Los Lunas at Farmington, that's a very, again, the Tigers hang 69 on Capital. I like Farmington. They're a very good team, and they trended upwards. They got a top 4 seed. Now, the other matchup is the bottom of the screen there. Did anybody think before the year started that Pius would play Artesia again? Now, the Bulldogs, of course, lost the state championship to Pius last year. They have 28 championships of their own, and you have to travel to Bulldog Bowl, a daunting task for the Sardins. But you know what? Who would have thought, or thunk, or whatever you want to say, that Pius would have been in this position after losing Drew Ortiz, Isaac Leon, Adrian Leon, I'm sorry. They lost a lot of players from last year, and they're still in the semis here at Artesia. Now, that's going to be hard. And then again, you got Aztec. When you mentioned going to the Wool Bowl and the Bulldog Bowl, oh, man, tough task there.
Let's take a look now. There you see the first round last week in 6A. Clovis, a big win over Trisco. Rio Rancho over Centennial. It was Hobbs all over Piedra Vista, and El Dorado holding off West Mesa. We got some highlights here. We'll look at the Rio Rancho Centennial game first. And Rio Rancho back to their semi-readable numbers, and they were getting touchdowns left and right here on this night.
Again, that's an offensive package, and Coach Coach Barrera does a great job, but their offensive coordinator does a great job there. And Centennial down to their 3rd-string quarterback, who still was competitive, but it's very tough to do that when you're down to your 3rd stringer. And there's the at the end of the game.
24-7 was the final score in that one. And then this one was a game I was at, and it was all Clovis, and what a catch there. And that was a very good looking touchdown by Seth Lopez. And I'll tell you what, when you got Demarius Milton and then you got this young man on the team, they're hard to beat.
You called this game. You called it. You like Clovis, and you were absolutely 100% right. You liked them, and they came through with a big playoff win.
We'll take a look as you see the quarterfinals coming up, and we'll talk a little more in depth about this. You got Clovis and Manzano. That'll be at Wilson Stadium. That means that El Dorado and La Cueva is going to be at Nusenda Community Stadium. Why, you might ask? Because La Cueva plays their home games at Wilson. Well, what does Charlie Dotson like to do during the playoffs? Have games on Saturday. You really think that Brandon Back's going to let El Dorado have an advantage of playing the Saturday game? No, they want to play on a Friday night, so they're playing at Nusenda Community. They chose that, according to James Yotis, basically on Friday before El Dorado even played on Saturday. And then you got Rio Rancho at the Field of Dreams against Las Cruces. Talk about a rematch there. There you go there in the quarterfinals. And then Hobbs against number 3 Cleveland on Saturday. Hobbs, by the way, with their quarterback Hardison, who all he's done 5,002 yards, 55 touchdowns, 8 interceptions.
That's unbelievable. I remember when you said that on the selection show, it was 4,000 yards at that time. So, wow.
And it was 40-something touchdowns. I mean, this guy's unbelievable.
55 touchdowns. Okay, and
to 8 picks.
Man, that's incredible. And Cleveland.
I don't care who you play. That's a great numbers.
And Cleveland's been playing well. That's a very interesting matchup to me. We'll have to see El Dorado La Cueva. The first game that they played, El Dorado had several defensive starters out. So we'll have to see. No, the guy was against Manzano. So I don't know if El Dorado has their defensive guys back, but La Cueva's really got a very powerful defense.
Let's look at that one more time, Alden, if we can. Put that back on the screen, because that will lead us on to who owes who. Manzano, well, if they win, they have a home game against Rio Rancho, a home against Hobbs, a home against Cleveland. against La Cueva, they would be the home team, and they would be at Las Cruces. So that would be a tough semifinal for them. La Cueva, basically they're at home the entire playoffs. The only game that they would be a road game against would be Manzano. Cleveland, they're at home against La Cueva, Cruces, Rio Rancho, Manzano. Las Cruces is at home against everybody but La Cueva. So if there's a championship game, if Las Cruces were to make the championship against La Cueva, say those two matched up, it would be here in Albuquerque. And El Dorado, their who owes who is at Hobbs, home against Cleveland, at Manzano here in town, at Clovis, home against Rio Rancho, and they would be home against Las Cruces.
It's hard to keep track of that. You've done a great job in tracking down who does owe who.
Well, that's all Dusty Young. Thanks to him for getting me that information. But yeah.
I'll tell you what, in this bracket here, if I look at Las Cruces, there's a great article about James Yoda, some great information there. Coach Mark Lopez has done a great job, and they're starting Ivan Molina healthy now, Peyton Ball, Brandon Baeza, a disciplined offensive line. The only loss they had was to Cleveland. They've run off 6 or 7 straight. That's my wild card there. Dominic Bramante, Gladiator coach, had said all roads lead to Manzano, and I think he's right, but you mentioned this, and I was just talking to some Manzano students this morning. It's a tough semifinal if Manzano has to go down to Las Cruces. I still say they're the best team in 6A. Yeah. But you know what? That Las Cruces team, they've been, Mayfield or Las Cruces have been in the championship 17 of the last 19 years.
Right.
What does that tell you?
It tells you they know how to win.
So that's a team
there. They know what it takes to win.
That's a team that
they've been underdog, right. They've been favored.
But okay, if you're Chad Adcox, you want to go against the best. Eventually, right. You got to get by Clovis. But if I'm him, I'm thinking, okay, you know what? Right. I'm thinking that next week, not now. But I'm thinking, okay, you want us to go down the field? We'll go down there and we'll beat you. I think that next week. But that's a daunting task. I'm telling you. You already know that.
Right.
This is a well-oiled machine. Well-oiled machine. Very well coached. Very well coached.
Take a quick look at what happened over the weekend at Santa Ana Star Center in volleyball. The girls' volleyball championships. They all pretty much went down to the wire except for this one. Sandia Prep against Robertson, and Sandia Prep would end up winning the blue trophy once again, their 3rd straight.
Yeah, that's great for the Sun Devils. And well, look at the floor there. I didn't know that's the kind of floor they use there, but yeah, it looks like a New Jersey Nets home and back in the day. Yeah. Congratulations to the Sun Devils.
Yeah, they always come out with a nice floor at Santa Ana Star Center, and obviously they got an even better one now. And it's a great place to watch the championship matches. And how about this one, St. Pius and Los Lunas? And this was an opportunity for Los Lunas to pull off the upset, and they did in 5 sets.
And Pius had been number 1 all year, I believe.
Yes, they had been number 1, and there's the blue trophy celebration there. And the final one, how about Sandia, as they would end the reign of Centennial. And we'll see the highlights here as you look at the celebration there. But this one also went 5 sets.
Yeah, that's taking it to the limit right there. And look at the Matadors celebrate.
And this is a team that's won a championship before, but hey, it doesn't get old, and they were underdogs, so they end up pulling out the big upset. And congratulations to Sandia, and congratulations to Los Lunas and Sandia Prep, for that matter, for their victories here in the NMAA state championships. As I think we're down to our final couple moments here, as Alden Iowani tells us at the final minute. Your thoughts going into this weekend?
Just wanted to give a shout out to my good friend Alvin Metters, the former Albuquerque High legend, New Mexico Highlands legend, former Albuquerque High assistant, also coach of the Granger Hurricanes. Came through some major surgery yesterday with flying colors. So Alvin, much love to you, man. Just wanted to give him that shout out.
Yeah, thanks for doing that, Ed, and hopefully he gets better soon. But good to hear that it went well.
Yeah, you know what? Alvin is a mentor to mine. When I grew up coaching at Highland, he really helped me in a lot of different ways. So Alvin and I go back 30, 40 years. So very good friend of mine.
He was one of my coaches in middle school.
So yeah, so Alden Iowani, he coached Alden Iowani too. So Alvin Metter's touch has spawned a lot of different.
It sounds like it. So yeah, best of luck to Alvin. So want to thank Alden Iowani, our fine director, and thanks to you, Ed. We'll do this again next week.
Looking forward to it. I really am.
For Ed Nunez, I'm Scott Coletti. See you next week on the Sports Desk.